It was the 5th year I was with Marcus. He proposed to me and promised a grand wedding. I waited for that day with eager anticipation. But before the wedding, I discovered his infidelity. When his secretary Chloe sent me a stack of intimate photos of her and Marcus, I collapsed onto the floor, my face pale, my hands trembling as I spread the received photos one by one on the ground. 300 photos in total, all nude pictures of Marcus in bed. My eyes were fixated on the photos, tears falling drop by drop. They fell onto the naked woman, held and kissed by Marcus, intimately intertwined with him. Counting from Chloe's first day of work, today was exactly the 300th day. My lungs felt like they were being drained of air, and I bit my lip hard to stifle any sobs. Just as I felt my breath giving out, my phone rang. Grand Hotel. Honey, it would be great if you could pick me up. Just finished a client dinner, had quite a bit to drink. It was a message from Marcus. After we got married, to reassure me, he almost always had me pick him up whenever he went out for client dinners. Almost every night was spent with him holding me and whispering sweet nothings. It was this significant overlap in our time together that made me never suspect he could be cheating. Wiping away the tears from my eyes, I turned off the screen, not replying. I quietly gathered the photos, folded them neatly, and put them away in a hidden drawer. I didn't go to pick up Marcus, but 2 hours later, he returned anyway. He reeked of alcohol and was dropped off by his driver. I got up and went outside, taking him from the driver. The moment I touched his shoulder, he suddenly flung his arm away. Not tonight. Get lost. My wife's coming to pick me up, so beat it. With that, he sagged against the driver again, appearing defensive against anyone approaching. The air froze. My hand hung stiffly in midair, my face alternating between dark and pale. The driver reacted first, gently patting Marcus's back to wake him up. Woken up, Marcus's eyes were filled with irritation, but the moment he saw me, they cleared instantly. Honey. He didn't remember what he had said, and reaching out, leaned into me. The driver left with a sigh of relief. The moment the door closed, he began mumbling endearments again. I'm sorry, honey, for making you wait so long again. Don't worry, once things settle down and everything's confirmed, we can have our wedding. I promise you a grand wedding. You'll be the happiest person in the world, surrounded by love, blessed by everyone, always joyful, always happy. I heard these declarations of love almost every night he was drunk. Before, I found them sweet. Now, they only sounded grating. Marcus sensed my stiffness. He looked up at me in confusion, but then, he chuckled softly. Then, he unsteadily pulled a jewelry box from his pocket. Look. Do you like it? A delicate, sparkling diamond necklace slipped from his palm. I had seen this necklace before. It was the only one of its kind, and its auction made headlines. I never expected Marcus to be the one who bought it. His drunken state made him unsteady, and his eyes were a bit red, but none of that stopped him from carefully putting the necklace on me. He carefully smoothed my long hair, trying his best to control his trembling hands as he fastened the necklace securely around my neck. Honey, I want to give you all the best things in this world. We have to be good together, so I can always love you. With that, he pulled me into his embrace. This embrace held no ulterior motives, only an overflowing love. Tears I had barely managed to hold back began to fall again. A delayed ache and tightness in my chest made it almost impossible to breathe. I didn't understand how he could love me on one hand, and on the other, be so entangled with his secretary. Even now, I clung to a sliver of hope, wishing it was all a lie. The next day, Marcus got up early to make breakfast. By the time I woke up, he had already prepared a table full of breakfast. Sandwiches without mayonnaise, only dark roast coffee, my favorite strawberries, my favorite savory oatmeal. Everything was exactly to my liking. He always remembered it perfectly. Seeing me awake, Marcus quickly brought over a glass of warm water. Have some water. Are you hungry? Come and eat. He led me to the dining table, and as was his habit, began taking care of me, watching me finish a bowl of oatmeal. Marcus had been like this often since I had a stomachache a while ago. Catching a glimpse of the deep love in Marcus's eyes, I paused, then finally spoke. Marcus, your secretary contacted me yesterday. She said she wanted to send me a package and tell me a secret. What did she mean by that? Bang. The ladle Marcus was using to serve soup dropped back into the bowl. For a split second, his expression was blank, but he quickly reverted to his good husband facade. He placed the soup back in front of me and ruffled my hair. Honey, don't believe any of that. She's probably just another troublemaker. I'll take care of it. With that, he took his phone and turned to enter his home office. Marcus acted calm, but having been with him for over a decade, I easily caught the fleeting hint of guilt in his eyes. And his hand trembled slightly as he rapidly sent messages from his phone. All of this indicated something was off. No sooner had Marcus entered his home office than I followed and stood by the door. Through the slightly ajar door, Marcus's suppressed voice carried out. "Chloe, did I give you too much leeway? Who told you to show up in front of my wife? What's between us? You need to understand clearly. Do you really deserve what you want? This is my first and last warning. If there's a next time, don't bother showing your face." Fury practically blazed from Marcus's eyes. But shortly after his voice ceased, the person on the other end made a video call to him. He answered the call, and instantly, He anger in his eyes was replaced by lust. "Mr. Marcus, I know I was wrong. This is me making it up to you. See if you like this outfit. And there are other surprises too." The moment Chloe's seductive and teasing voice came through, he went silent. He stared intensely at the screen, his chest rising and falling more rapidly. Finally, only a single, guttural sentence escaped his lips. "Wait for me." When came out, I had already returned to the dining table. He hurried over, pulled my head into a quick kiss, grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair, and headed out. His voice was low and hoarse, tinged with an unidentifiable emotion. "Honey, eat a little more. The company suddenly has a contract to sign. I'm going to check on it. When I'm done with work, I'll bring you some cake." After left, I never lifted my head. My body, which I had been desperately trying to control, finally succumbed to violent trembling. Tears still streamed down my face, and I let them, simply eating my breakfast bite by bite. If yesterday I could still deceive myself, today, I was completely desperate. I knew this relationship. It was probably over. Marcus didn't return until evening after he left. Just like countless times before, he brought me my favorite cake. But when I saw it, I not only lost my appetite but felt utterly sick to my stomach. Its presence was a stark reminder of what Marcus had been doing earlier today. I didn't eat a single bite of the cake he offered, turning instead and going back to my room. Marcus thought I was just tired and didn't suspect anything more. 2 days later was my graduate school commencement ceremony. Marcus arrived early and stayed by my side, bustling around to handle things. From the moment he appeared, he drew a crowd of stares. Everyone was whispering about this man with such a distinctly different aura. Yet his gaze was solely on me, focused and full of affection. As if he had no interest in anything else but me. If I hadn't seen those photos, I might have been lost in the world he created for me, believing he loved me deeply and only saw me. I turned my head, avoiding his gaze, and forced a bitter smile. The commencement ceremony had just begun when Marcus's phone started ringing repeatedly. It was his personal phone, and only a few people knew that number. Even fewer would dare to call relentlessly. I didn't need to think, it was clear who was calling. When the phone rang for the 10th time, he gave me an apologetic glance. He turned and went to a corner to answer it. Marcus's tone wasn't good when he answered, but after a few soothing words from the other end, his irritation calmed. His impatience was replaced by something akin to interest, and an unidentifiable emotion flickered in his eyes once more. Hanging up quickly, Marcus returned to my side. He took out a tissue and carefully wiped the fine perspiration from my skin. Leaning closer, he whispered softly, "Honey, I've arranged for a professional photographer to take your pictures, and my assistant will stay here. If you need anything, just tell him. I transferred some money to your card. After you're done with your graduation photos, go out for a meal with your friends and relax. The wedding planner needs to go over some details again, so I won't be able to stay for your graduation photos. Anyway, we'll have a lifetime together, so a little while now won't matter." Marcus didn't wait for my response. He left in a hurry, his strides growing wider. I stared at his retreating back, my gaze fixed for a long time. Marcus had come up with another excuse for himself. He always thought his excuses were flawless, but in his haste, he forgot that he had used this one more than twice already. I mockingly withdrew my gaze. Just as I was about to go for the group photo, I suddenly received an unfamiliar text message. "Go home, there's a surprise waiting." Seeing the message, my expression darkened. This number had sent me texts more than once before. For about a month, she had been sending me strange messages, sometimes a blurry photo, sometimes 2 intertwined hands, sometimes an address. Before, I dismissed them as a prank, but now, it seemed it must be Chloe, desperate to take my place. "Don't you want to see another side of Marcus? I promise you, you've never seen it before. I'll leave the door unlocked for you." The weather wasn't particularly cold, yet I felt as if I'd fallen into an ice abyss, breaking out in a cold sweat. My mind went blank, no time to think, my body reacted first, running out. The hour-long journey home from the university, I somehow managed to cut down to 30 minutes. I already knew it would be ugly, but I still desperately wanted to see for myself. Ultimately, I still clung to a sliver of hope, fantasizing that it was all just Chloe's scheme to sow discord. But when I got home, and peered through the deliberately left open door, seeing the scene inside, my pupils suddenly dilated. My breath and heartbeat seemed to stop at that moment. I froze stiff, rooted to the spot, as if all my strength had been drained. My eyes were uncontrollably glued to the two entwined figures, watching until my eyes ached and swelled, until my heart felt like it had been blown into a pulpy mess. The two moved from the second-floor bedroom to the living room, finally reaching the entrance of my art studio. "Mr. Marcus, I want to try it in the art studio." The moment Chloe's voice came out, Marcus immediately rejected it. "No. Don't defile my wife's space," but was persistent. She wrapped her arms around Marcus's neck, seducing him with a breathy, sensual voice. "But I really want to try. Mr. Marcus, I brought a lot of things today. The art studio has good lighting, so you can see even better. And you can freely paint all over me." Marcus's expression faltered for a second, just 1 second, and then desire replaced reason. He picked up Chloe and carried her into my art studio. At that moment, my heart, which had been floating for days, finally sank into a pool of stagnant water. Emanating death, it could no longer beat. Stumbling out of Marcus's house, I squatted on the ground, retching until the world swam before my eyes. I don't know how long I sat on the ground in a daze, until my phone rang again, pulling me back to consciousness. It was Chloe again. "See it clearly now? Your dream of a wealthy lifestyle is over? If you've woken up, then just get lost. The only one who can stand by Mr. Marcus's side is me." I pulled the corners of my mouth into a self-mocking smile. She was so desperate to force me out this way, Marcus probably hadn't given her what she wanted. She was panicking. My legs felt like jelly, but even so, I held on to the railing, moving little by little away from that filthy place. On the slow but determined walk away, I replied to Chloe with trembling hands. "Since you're so eager to take my place, help me leave, and I'll give you my position." Chloe was quite resourceful. The moment she heard I wanted to leave, she immediately started making arrangements without delay. She bought me a plane ticket and arranged a new identity for me. She even gave me an opportunity to study with an art teacher. Everything was arranged meticulously. The plane was to depart a week later, as if she were afraid I'd change my mind. But before the plane ticket reached my hands, Marcus intercepted it. "Honey, are you going somewhere? Why didn't you tell me? The company's been quite stable lately. I have time to go with you. I don't feel comfortable with you going alone." Before he could finish, I interrupted him coldly. "No, I'm not going anywhere. I bought the wrong ticket. You can just throw it away for me." I watched regretfully as the plane ticket was torn to shreds, my plans for leaving forcibly needing to be re-evaluated. Even though I explained, perhaps my change in attitude was too obvious, because Marcus remained very uneasy. He began to put down his work, dedicating himself entirely to staying home and taking care of me. He handled everything personally. Even when my gastritis flared up and I was throwing up in the middle of the night, he cleaned up the mess without a hint of disgust. He comforted me while redirecting my attention with his words. "Honey, before we knew it, we've been together for 5 years. I've known you for over a decade. From the moment I understood what love was, I knew you would be my bride. I truly, deeply love you, more than anyone else, and I only love you, honey. Don't listen to any outside voices, just trust me." Marcus anxiously held me tighter in his arms, as if terrified I would leave. I met Marcus when I was 8 years old. Back then, after my adoptive father's drunken domestic abuse, I angered him by running away, and he threw me into the river. It was Marcus who happened to pass by with a group of friends and pulled me out. Seeing my plight, he brought his friends to my house every day to keep an eye on my adoptive father and see if he was hurting me. He even had his father send bodyguards. Just as my adoptive father was about to act, the bodyguard stopped him. Though my adoptive father was angry, he couldn't afford to offend the Hayes family. After a few such incidents, my adoptive father settled down, and I never had any more injuries. We grew up together. He was always kind, and whenever he had something good, he would always give it to me. Naturally, we got together, and we got engaged during our sophomore year of college. If hadn't appeared, I might have truly been lost forever in the dream he created for me. Lowering my dimmed eyes, I didn't respond, pretending to be asleep. I'm no actress. At least now, I truly can't pretend that nothing has happened between us. The next morning, Marcus planned to take me to see the wedding venue. On the way, to avoid talking to him, I closed my eyes and feigned sleep. Marcus simply assumed I wasn't feeling well. He instinctive. Ly reached for my hand, but before he could, I tucked both my hands into my pockets. He froze for a moment, his mouth opening, but no sound came out before the steadily moving car suddenly swerved violently. The immense inertia flung us both out. The moment I hit the ground, Marcus pulled me up, clutching me tightly to his chest, using his body as a shield. His eyes were grim, his face incredibly dark. I looked up at the rearview mirror and, sure enough, saw two large vehicles chasing us. Marcus's identity was special. This kind of malicious attack wasn't the first time. I reached out to shield his head, but he took my hand and held it protectively against his chest. Shoo, stay still. No sooner had he spoken than there was a loud crash. The car window shattered, sending tiny shards of glass onto Marcus, leaving streaks of blood on his previously unblemished face and neck. Some of the flowing blood even splattered onto my face. Before I could react, the car was hit again, and Marcus's head struck an unknown object. He slumped down, falling onto me. After taking him to the hospital, Marcus underwent a series of examinations. It was finally determined that besides some scrapes, he only had a mild concussion. The feeling of surviving such a close call still left me disoriented. After quickly thanking the doctor, I returned to Marcus's side to look after him. Honey, I'm really fine. Don't fuss over me so much. What if you get tired? I'm perfectly fine. You, on the other hand, must have been scared, right? I'm sorry, honey. I didn't handle everything well. I promise, this is the last time. Watching on the hospital bed, pale-faced with unhealed scratches, still blaming himself, my previously hardened heart softened slightly once more. Even now, I was certain that Marcus still loved me very much. But this love was tainted with many foul things. Catching a glimpse of his vibrating phone, which he had pressed down, I forced a faint smile. Then, I made an excuse to go back for a change of clothes and left. Once out of the hospital room, I didn't leave but stood by the adjacent room. Only after Chloe appeared, as expected, did I approach the door. Go find out which company dared to target Grace. Do they think I'm dead? I can only wait 2 days at most. After 2 days, they will pay the price. Separated only by a door, Chloe's voice effortlessly reached my ears. Mr. Marcus, isn't it exciting in the hospital? Why refuse? I checked. Ms. Grace has already driven home and won't be back anytime soon. Let me keep you company. This time, anything you want, okay? Her answer was the sound of clothes being torn. Marcus cursed under his breath a few times, then roughly pulled her up from the floor. Soon, sounds of intimacy came from within the room. My already strained nerves, amidst the sounds of feigned whimpers and angry shouts, completely snapped. The hope that had just reignited was, at this moment, utterly extinguished. Marcus was hospitalized for half a month, and by the time he was discharged, our wedding date had arrived. The wedding was incredibly grand, with too many details to handle. Marcus insisted I not worry about it, running around to confirm everything himself. Only when I was getting my makeup done did he have time to come and check on me. Do you like it? This wedding gown was designed by a friend of mine. It's absolutely perfect for you. At today's wedding, we'll witness each other at our best, then we'll exchange vows and promise to be together forever. As he spoke of forever together, joy and a hint of obsession showed in Marcus's eyes. I didn't answer, simply looking at the exquisitely dressed and adorned woman in the mirror, remaining silent for a long time. Wearing the wedding gown I had longed for years, I should have felt happy, but now, it only felt like a set of shackles. Marcus, thinking I was stunned with surprise, affectionately stroked my head. All right, I'll go over the last details. See why? Oh, you in a bit. He kissed my cheek and cheerfully pushed the door open, leaving. The moment Marcus left, the staff inside erupted. Ms. Grace, you are absolutely stunning. You are undoubtedly the most beautiful bride in the world. I dare say, in all my years in this business, I've never seen a groom as deeply devoted as Mr. Marcus. Ms. Grace, you're truly fortunate. According to Mr. Marcus's plan, this wedding will definitely be a grand wedding. When you make your entrance, flowers will rain down from above. I couldn't hear a word of the person in charge's compliments, only managing to maintain a barely acceptable smile. I knew I wouldn't go through with this wedding. The object of envy, the most beautiful bride, would absolutely not be me. I didn't want to spend my entire life jealous, sad, pained, broken, trapped in my emotions because of him. Even if he was Marcus. The guests had almost all arrived, so I found an excuse to send all the staff out. After waiting alone in the dressing room for 10 minutes, Chloe arrived. Her bridal makeup was already done, and she excitedly stared at me the moment she entered. I stood up and handed her the wedding gown I had already taken off. Her smile widened even further, and she put it on without even looking. The plane tickets are in my bag. Don't worry, I bought tickets for several flights, each with other passengers, so Marcus won't find you anytime soon. There's also a card in the bag with $50,000 on it. Take it. Once my position is secure, I'll give you more. The only condition is, never come back. You need to leave now, the wedding's about to start, and I need to go out. As the wedding music began, Chloe covered her face with a white veil, held up her skirt, and walked out, surrounded by the crowd, her head bowed. Her steps were firm, there was no hint of guilt about taking my place. Watching her back, I saw a hint of naivete. Perhaps even now, she still believed Marcus loved her too, believed that with her as the bride, Marcus wouldn't expose her in front of so many guests for the sake of his reputation, believed that without me, she would be the only one who could become the lady of the Hayes family. I didn't shatter her illusion. Instead, after she left, I took my things, changed into her clothes, and blended into the crowd. I walked from the backstage area to the main hall, keeping my head down, moving quickly. But when I reached the doorway, my steps involuntarily halted. I turned my head, looking one last time at the radiant man bathed in the stage lights. At that moment, he smiled with satisfaction, eagerly watching the slowly opening doors. The grand doors slowly opened, and the eagerly awaited bride slowly appeared. For a moment, the entire place fell silent. Doesn't she look different from before? The wedding gown doesn't even fit. Did they switch brides at the last minute? Quiet down. Marcus doesn't look happy. Among the hundreds present, everyone's face was grim, except for Chloe, who was lost in her own world on stage. Especially. He stared intently at Chloe, his jaw clenched. Why is it you? Where's my wife? Where's Grace? Chloe didn't care. She stepped forward, inch by inch, until she stood before Marcus. What? I'm the bride. Before she could finish, Marcus shoved her away. His eyes bloodshot, he roared at the bodyguard standing below the stage. What are you staring at? What do I pay you for? Go find her now. No sooner had the bodyguards left than Chloe stepped forward and embraced Marcus. Darling, don't look for Grace anymore, she's already gone. Now it's our wedding. Let's hurry with the ceremony, before anyone disrupts it. Hearing her voice, Marcus's pupils suddenly dilated, and he violently grabbed her neck, utterly disbelieving. Marcus, what are you doing with so many people watching? Marcus's flushed face instantly turned ashen. Shock and grief intertwined, his body trembling uncontrollably, as if he had suffered a colossal NGE. Where's Grace? What do you mean she's gone? What did you do? Marry you? You don't even deserve it. You shameless woman who uses her body as a bargaining chip, how dare you compare yourself to Grace? Didn't I tell you not to provoke Grace? I'm giving you one last chance. Bring to me right now, or I'll make sure you wish you were dead. He staggered for a moment, yet his hand remained clamped tightly around Chloe's neck. Just as her face turned purple and she was about to suffocate, Marcus suddenly kicked her hard in the stomach. The kick was delivered with full force. Chloe was sent flying several feet away, her purple face instantly turning ashen. Marcus clutched his head, swaying uncomfortably. I knew this was a symptom of his incomplete recovery from the concussion. Marcus, what's with this act of devotion? Didn't you support me? Didn't you give me hope? You were the one who cheated first. Isn't it your fault Grace found out and ran away? Why don't you blame yourself? What right do you have to push all the responsibility onto me? Marcus's eyes were blood red. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he looked like a vengeful ghost from the underworld come to claim a soul. Chloe, you're damn well asking for it. Why can't you be satisfied? Why did you have to let her find out? Why did you have to destroy my family? Mai is gone, what the hell am I supposed to do? Finally, after his bodyguards signaled that they hadn't found anyone, Marcus completely lost his mind. He furiously smashed the wedding venue, overturned the tables, and swung the bottles of red wine from the tables at Chloe. The sounds of shattering glass mixed with her screams. The wedding descended into complete chaos, and guests started leaving in droves, fearing they might get caught in the crossfire. Withdrawing my gaze, I blended into the crowd and slipped out with them. Marcus, whose concussion hadn't fully healed, was further agitated. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and FAI. Ted. Finally, both he and Chloe were carried away together by the ambulance. Hidden in the crowd, I watched Marcus, blood at the corner of his mouth, pale-faced and slumped on the stretcher, being carried away. Only after he disappeared from sight did I head directly to the airport. As expected, this would be the last time I saw Marcus. Holding the plane ticket Chloe gave me, I boarded a flight to another country. The flight lasted 13 hours. When I got off the plane, I was greeted by hundreds of missed calls and thousands of text messages on my phone. They were all from Marcus. Honey, please listen to me. What said isn't true. I only have you. I didn't cheat. Chloe is just talking nonsense. She's not mentally stable. Don't listen to her. There's nothing between us. Everything is just her delusion. Honey, send me your location. Will you stand there and wait for me to pick you up? Please, I'm begging you. Don't ignore me. I'm really scared. Honey, my head hurts. I didn't have the patience to read through the long paragraphs of explanations and pleas. Mixed in with his texts were two from Chloe. Grace, you promised me you wouldn't come back. Marcus did cheat. He slept with me for a year, and now he remembers you and wants to ditch me? No way. I won't leave no matter what. I'll cling to him until the very end. The events of yesterday blurred in the face of my exhaustion. I didn't care how Marcus and Chloe entangled themselves. Right now, I just wanted to get settled and get some proper rest. Snapping my SIM card and throwing it into the trash, I headed to a nearby hotel. After checking into the hotel, I indulged myself by sleeping for a full day and night. I didn't reluctantly get up until my head felt light, and my body was soft and numb. Chloe gave me $50,000, and the allowance Marcus used to give me totaled a few $1,000,000. So, I wasn't living a simple life. I rented a charming cottage, got myself settled, and then contacted the art teacher Chloe had introduced me to. Being in a foreign country, far from feeling uncomfortable, actually made me feel significantly lighter. Everything that had once tormented me was left in the past. The chaos in my heart was emptied, and I found a rare sense of peace. Following my art teacher, I immersed myself completely in my studies. Time flew by with my studies. Even though I had only learned the basics, half a year had passed. One day, as soon as I arrived at the art studio, I sensed an extremely heavy atmosphere. Professor's deep gaze fell upon me. She cleared her throat and handed her phone to me. I took the phone, perplexed, but my pupils suddenly constricted when I saw the screen. The video was from a surveillance camera and wasn't clear. But even in the blurry footage, Marcus's cold, sinister expression was still evident. He was choking Chloe, who was wearing a hospital gown, and lifting her, withered to skin and bones from torment, pressing her half out the window. He pushed half her body outside. Last chance. Tell me where she is. Otherwise, there's no need for you to be alive anymore. Chloe kept hitting his arm, signaling him to let go, but Marcus remained unmoved. Let go of me. You maniac, are you trying to kill me? Marcus sneered, a cold smile tugging at his lips. He narrowed his eyes, a deadly coldness in their depths. I can afford to pay for it anyway. Chloe told him my location. She finally told him, perhaps realizing Marcus was truly capable of killing her. Finally, gasping for breath, she was dragged away by Marcus's men. I glanced at the video's timestamp, 12:13 a.m. It was now 2 p.m. As expected, Marcus should be here. After thanking Professor, I didn't stay in the classroom. I picked up my bag and left directly through the back. I didn't dare go home, originally planning to find a hotel to hide for a while. But just as I walked out of the academic building, I was enveloped by a warm presence from behind. Grace, I finally found you. You know how long I've been looking for you? Half a year. I haven't had a good night's sleep in 6 months. Every time I close my eyes, I'm gripped by the terror of losing you. I can't even bear to close my eyes. I've missed you so much, Grace. I was really wrong. Chloe was just an accident. I promise you, it won't happen again, okay? Please believe me and come back with me. Marcus hugged me tightly, so tight that my ribs ached. He was leaning on my shoulder, his hot tears seeping through my thick clothes and chilling my skin. Grace, I had Chloe sent to a mental institution. She won't be getting out. No one will stand between us ever again. Please, give me another chance, one last chance, okay? Come back with me. I've had the wedding venue redecorated. This time, let's truly get married properly, okay? Marcus's voice was undeniably humble. For the first time, the man who had always been so high and mighty bowed his noble head to someone. But I felt no inclination. Only numbness and mockery. Pulling away his constraining arms, I turned to meet Marcus's gaze. Having not seen him for 6 months, he had lost a lot of weight, his cheeks sunken, his eyes bulging. He looked like a completely different person from the spirited man he was half a year ago. But his transformation still failed to move me. No, I won't. Even now, do you think that just because you got rid of Chloe, things can go back to how they were between us? Marcus, stop pushing the blame. This relationship, it festered because of you. I can't accept it, and you can't go back either. If you've come to your senses, just go back. I turned to leave, but Marcus grabbed me first. He trembled all over, his eyes filled with fear and refusal. He shook his head, saying no, even clutching my waist and kneeling down on the spot. Grace, please give me one chance, just one. For the sake of our 5 years together, for the sake of me saving you when we were kids, I beg you, this is the last time. The eyes of passers-by were all fixed on us. I didn't want to be stared at, and even less did I want to compromise. My face hardened. Marcus, I gave you chances. When sent me the photos, I gave you a chance to explain. You told me she was just a troublemaker, but then you were drawn in by her photos and went to her. At the graduation ceremony, you said you had something to do, but instead, you brought her home, into our bedroom, and into my art studio. Even at this point, I still harbored a sliver of hope for you. I still couldn't bear to leave you. But you, after protecting me in that car accident just moments before, then went and did it with her at the hospital right when I was starting to feel something for you again. How can you expect me to forgive you? I truly can't. Now, every time I see you, those explicit photos flash before my eyes, and every scene of you with her replays frame by frame. I truly can't forget it. Marcus, let's just let each other go. Marcus fell silent, his sobs tearing through him. I had thought he would leave after understanding my stance, but Marcus unexpectedly stayed for half a month. For those 2 weeks, he followed me everywhere daily, acting as if nothing had happened, even moving in next door to my place. He'd cook meals and bring them to my university, offering genuine concern, recounting memories, trying to make me see him as the boy from my past once more. Grace, your favorite savory oatmeal is ready. Eat it while it's hot. Grace, do you remember when we were kids, you were always being bullied, but you'd never say anything about it? I'd have to run to your classroom and interrogate everyone, one by one. When spoke of the past, his eyes were always filled with longing and nostalgia, while I remained indifferent. I didn't stop Marcus from his futile efforts. It was just that his repeated visits to my university were causing misunderstandings. By the 3rd time my class was interrupted, even my patience wore thin. I put D on my paintbrush and pulled Marcus, who was delivering the meal, away. Marcus, I'm not happy. Everything you do bothers me, it frustrates me. Your presence will only ever make me miserable. My tone wasn't pleasant as I took a gift box from my pocket and placed it in his hand. It was the necklace he had given me before. Now, I was giving it back to him. Marcus, go home. We are truly over. This time, Marcus said nothing. He stood rigidly in place, staring at the necklace in his hand, his eyes reddening. His face was pale, his lips trembling. In what could be described as a warm summer, he shivered uncontrollably, barely able to stand. His mouth opened and closed several times before finally pressing into a thin line. We stood in silence for a long time, so long that Marcus finally couldn't bear it anymore and collapsed to the ground. Only then did I hear his voice. I'm sorry. I knew Marcus understood. He used to say that my happiness was the meaning of his existence. Now that I'm unhappy, his existence has no meaning.